apartments I sent checks. Yo, billionaire went undercover, help y'all discover who did it best. Just bought 2 choppers, can't wait till they see the face and they see what I do next. When I walk through the door, I'm talking cash flow. And if you know like I know, you getting cash flow. When I walk through the door, I'm talking cash flow. And if you know like I know, you getting cash flow. Yeah, and only then do I buy something.
Hey, Grant Cardone, and welcome back to day, what day are we on anyway? Day 5 of the financial challenge, the $1 million challenge. I'm challenging you guys to become millionaires, decamillionaires, hectamillionaires, and look, if you can imagine this, billionaires. I am challenging you to quit making excuses and start getting the wealth game on. Quit earning income and start winning wealth. And that's what we've been talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today's Friday. I've been doing this for you for free. Thousands of people have hit us and said, hey man, this can't end. Don't let this end. We have created an offer for you to spend 3 days with me where I'm going to coach you on your finances. Wherever you are, you're broke. Maybe you got 60 grand in a bank account. Maybe you got some financial retirement accounts set up. Maybe you're 50 years old or 25 years old. Look, at 51 years old, I was in debt, had a lawsuit going at me that could wipe me out. I had 2008 in my face, a baby on the way. And it was that compression, okay, the fear and the reality, realizing I got myself in that situation. I'd played by the rules my whole life. I'd worked my ass for money. I'd basically operated out of scarcity. I traded time for money. I got taxed on the income. I increased the amount of work I did. That's what I was told to do. Work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard, work long. Keep working, save your money. And I kept playing this scarcity game. And guess what? 2008 comes. Half of my net worth was taken from me. 2/3 of my income was taken from me. Then a lawsuit hit me for the one thing that could keep me stable. I had a baby on the way, a new marriage. I had debt, a lawsuit, and I had $50 million worth of loans due that were maturing, and the bank failed. You know what they say? When it rains, it pours. And the universe took a shit on me. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do here? I'm responsible for this, and I'm going to be bringing a guy on today that's going to talk about responsibility and the power of breaking generational poverty thinking, which I was a victim of, okay? This morning, 12 years later, what is it, 12, 13 years later? Mm-hmm. Just 13 years later, the Houston Chronicle, I don't know, Johnny, have you seen that post this morning, the Houston Chronicle post?
I'll find it.
Yeah, can somebody just text him the photo? The Houston Chronicle, where I started my first business. The Houston Chronicle, because you got to show this to believe this. I mean, it's just not even believable. Think of where I was 12 years ago. I was 40 pounds overweight, 40 full pounds overweight. I didn't have any kids. Nobody knew my name. I hadn't written a book yet. I think I had 200 apartments, 200 units. Today, as I share with you today on Scarcity and Abundance, the Houston Chronicle, grab the photo, grab the image, okay? Because the image is better than the
You got the article?
Can you show the image?
I
did.
Billionaire Grant Cardone buys Houston properties. 12 years. In 12 years, man, I go from being scared to death. I'm going to lose my little bit of property I had. I'm going to embarrass myself and my name. And today, in the same city I grew up in, as I share with you today, okay? What does it say? Because we got to show it.
A billionaire buyer from Florida has purchased a pair of recently built apartment mid-rises in the Heights.
Yeah. So anyway, look, if I can do this, you guys can do this, okay? And all week I brought to you, Monday night I brought to you
Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary. Okay, Kevin O'Leary. That was a fantastic interview. Talked about never get over your skis.
Discipline.
Tuesday, I brought in Sharon Lecter. Sharon Lecter said, look, if you don't make more investments in wealth creation than you do work creation, you will always be poor. So you guys got to change those W's. I got to go from working to wealth creation. And most people are not working on their wealth. Wednesday night, I brought in the great one. A-Rod hit me today. Who's got my phone? Where's my damn phone at? Okay, damn my phone. A-Rod hit me. Man, I love that. I love that interview with my guy Magic. Okay, here it is right here. Okay. He said, man, I love Magic. What'd you sell your Gulfstream for? How much? I'm looking for one. Okay. This is the first thing I get this morning. And I'm telling you guys all this because, yeah, here's the post, Johnny. I don't know if you saw it. Okay, here's the post. I don't know if you can go in or not, Johnny. Probably can't. But from the Houston Chronicle. I'm showing you guys this because, you know what? Receipts matter. A young black man told me that once. He's like, bro, look, receipts. I need to see some receipts. And ever since I ever heard that, I'm like, I tell somebody something, I show somebody something. If people can't show you what they're doing, then you should not trust what they're saying. So this is what we want to do for you, okay? I want to do more for you than just these 3 or 4 days and get everybody excited. Everybody on Clubhouse is talking about wealth creation right now. People are talking about passive income. I was on Clubhouse last night till 1 o'clock in the morning answering questions. And what I want to do is I want to help you guys. I want to help you. I want to spend 3 days. I need 3 full days with you in an exercise virtual situation. This is $297. Okay, so let's just get the price out. If you bought all this off my website, you would spend $2,997. Okay, I want to take about 400 or 500 people. I want to put them into this interactive training platform. We have figured this out. I'm going to spend about $3 million on this event so that I can literally touch a button, share a piece of information with you, touch a button, break you into groups of 5s, and then give you an exercise. Have you do the exercise, come back and ask me questions, and then we're going to start making changes in 3 days. So for $297, you can get your wife on, your kids on. Hey, you can bring your dad over and your mom over. Y'all can all watch it. I'm going to take the $297 and I'm going to help 29 kids in inner cities. And I'm going to help you and your family and use the money to help some kids, okay? So take advantage of that. 3 days. I'm also going to give you this as homework. This is what you need to start on right now. When you get this right now, I need you to get on this program. You got 21 days to do this program. This program on my website is $1,500. This is 2,500 bones. Marketing mastery. How do I become a marketing master on Instagram and Clubhouse and Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTuber? And then how to, when the Rumbler, what's it called? The Rumbler? Or
Rumble.
Rumble. When the Rumble comes out, how do I blast that thing? My first post on Rumble had 40,000 views. Okay, Monday. So the 10X Super Life, this is the mindset. How do I think so big that I'm actually starting to think about $1 billion? By the way, folks, look, it doesn't cost anything to think big. You can think about, I'm going to make 50 grand. I'm going to make 50 grand a year. Okay, watch this. Have that thought right now. Everybody just try this little exercise. I'm going to make 50 grand a year. Or, hey, I'm going to make 50 grand a month. All I did was change time. Time is... And we always talk about this time is money thing, but nobody, when they talk about money, ever talk about time. And time is senior to the money. How I spend my time will determine how much money I accumulate in what period of time. Watch this. I just want you to have these 3 thoughts. Number 1, I earn $50,000 a year. I earn $50,000 a month. I think we need to bring this up, Johnny. It looks like I go dark, Johnny, when I get in the back.
No, you're good.
No, I can tell I go dark. Okay, yeah, thank God. Okay, number 3, I'm gonna make 50 grand a week. You're like, man, that's impossible. It is not impossible to think big. All you have to do is think big. Johnny right now, he's cutting this video for me right here, okay? He creates a studio. Johnny's already figured out how to do the 50 grand a month. A long time ago, he figured out 50 grand a year. He figured that out a long time ago. He's probably figured out how to do that twice a year, maybe 3 times a year. Now we got to get Johnny to think about how to make 50 grand a month.
God dang.
Johnny, you like that idea better?
I love it.
Johnny, you would look better. You would look younger. Money will not make you happy, folks, but it will make you look younger. People always say, man, how you stay so young? Money. Let's keep it real. Shit, I look good because I'm rich. I do not have the stress. Yes, I have the wrinkles around my eyes. They look good on a man, okay? Okay? Yes, you can tell I am an aged man that has been in the sun. But that extra money, that passive income, I'm telling you, passive income is like a rejuvenating cream of collagen, loaded with collagen. Earned income makes you look old. Passive income makes you just look bright. It makes you look refreshed, okay? It makes the wrinkles look, what's the word when you got wrinkles?
Smooth.
Not smooth. You can't have a smooth wrinkle, man. Wrinkle, it makes you look
vibrant,
like
enhanced.
There's a word, but anyway, I don't know what it is. But you guys know what I'm saying. It's what Jay-Z said. He says, I have never seen an ugly billionaire.
Refined.
Okay? Distinguished was the word I'm looking for, okay? Gentlemanly, right? Anyway, folks, I cannot emphasize this enough. Wealth will make you well. You cannot be happy with just rich. Because rich people are worried about their money. That's why you'll meet a rich person that's terrified. I knew this car dealer once. He was so rich, and every year he would send one of his general managers to Macy's to apply for a discount card. It was crazy. I'm like, bro, you can never spend your money. 10% on a $78 shirt cannot change your life. The book, The Millionaire Next Door, where it talked about don't drink coffee. I remember reading this book. This book may be hundreds of millions of dollars, because when I read this book, I said, I am not going to be that guy. Buy a used truck rather than a new truck. 20 grand is not your problem. 20 million is. I want you to think bigger, right? So today, I'm gonna get you guys to think bigger. But what's gonna happen is when this ends tonight, you're gonna go back to thinking small. You're gonna be worried about the COVID, the booster shot. Can I even say COVID on a live stream anymore? Alan's over there worried about me. He's like, you better not say it, and you better not cough, okay? Because they might think you need it right now, okay? So bottom line is, when all this stuff passes, Democrats, Republicans, all the issues in the world, you guys need money. My family needs money. My future needs funding. Magic Johnson talked about spending time on a 300-foot yacht. Takes money to do that. That's not free. Nobody's going to give you that. I don't care if you're Magic Johnson or not. Everybody pays for that trip. So I want to help you guys get there. As big as you can think. If you can think big, good, but for how long? So this is what I want you to do. GrantCardone.com/virtual. I'm going to give you these two. This is the 10X Super Life. This is going to get you thinking like I do every day. I just need you to do like 30 minutes on it today. It's in full video, and I'm gonna crawl up in your head, man. I'm gonna crawl up in your head. I'm gonna be in your attic. Everywhere you go, I'm gonna be like, bang, don't do it. Bang, don't do it. Let's go big. Let's go big. I'm gonna crawl up in your shit, and we're gonna get you rich, okay? You're not gonna go out and buy the Richard or the Paddock right now. You're not gonna buy the Ferrari. We're gonna save that so that you're gonna start leveraging your money to buy investments, and instead of buying a Ferrari, you're gonna buy the Ferrari dealership. Jerry, I'm talking to you, Jerry. Instead of buying one Ferrari, Jerry, let's go buy a dealership that sells Ferraris, and you can change them out every damn week. It's a different thing, folks. Rather than being the guy shooting the video, man, let's go build a studio and make TV shows. Okay, let's figure out how to make 50 grand a day, not 50 grand a week. How big can you think? And when you go back to your community, your friends, your mom, your brothers, your sisters, when you go back on Facebook tonight, trust me, if the people around you think smaller than you do, they will shrink you like a rubber band. Do we have a rubber band in here? You know, a rubber band, you stretch that rubber band, or a balloon. You blow into a balloon, man, it can get big and can get beautiful, but the moment you let go of that thing, bang, it's back to being just a piece of rubber. Right there. You see this? This is what's going to happen to your mind. For the last 4 days, it stretches. Let it go, it goes back to this. I got to keep you stretched, man. Okay, so if you want to stay stretched, let me crawl inside your mental attic, and I will not come out. I'm going to be like a rat. I'm going to be like a rat up in your head. I'm going to get rid of all the poison, all the bullshit, all the little think, all the scarcity. Tonight, I'm going to have Dr. Jordan Peterson in. He's a clinical psychologist. Yesterday, I had a stripper. Ex-stripper. that's making $25 million a year, young black woman that came in here and said, it's all about what you think. It's what you think, who you hang with, and the images in your mind. And that's why I have on here, 10X Super Life, okay, with you and the family, and a yacht in the background. This is not like anybody can have that. Yeah, anybody actually can have that with the work. So grab that, grantcardone.com/virtual. We're going to give you some support materials. I'm going to give you the 10X Rule book, the $1 Million booklet, the Millionaire booklet. This little book, give it to me. 38 languages. I wrote this book in 2 hours. It was translated to 38 languages in 30 days, okay? Millions of these have been around the world. Put this in your pocket. Read this book, put it right here, and keep it with you for 12 months. I guarantee you'll be a millionaire at the end of a year. I say guarantee. What's that?
He popped it.
Okay. All right. So.
Scarcity versus abundance.
What have we been talking about all week? Yep. What have we been talking about all week? We've been talking about discipline, okay? The first day we talked about discipline. How do you get money? Okay, discipline. One, I gotta have a goal of how much money I want. I get it. What happens is I gotta get it, and then I lose it. What happens to this person? Everybody's done this. Everybody's had an experience with it. There's not a human being on planet Earth that didn't get some money and lose it. Discipline. How do I get it? Now, a lot of people know how to get it. They know how to keep it. This is step one. Step two. This is what Kevin was talking about. How do I keep it without becoming a hoarder? This is what Sharon Lecter talked about. Now, a lot of people have figured this out. This basically is the middle class of America. This first one is the poverty in America or around the world. The second one is the middle class. They got their own little game figured out. They got it. Now they kept it. They paid their car off. This is the guy paying his debt off. You know how to pay, you know how to get it, and then you pay your debt off, and then you pay your house off. Okay, these are actually not the right things to do, just so you guys know. I know you're like, I'm doing good. No, actually that's not. This is a trap. There's 250 million people in this country. We have $7 trillion of equity stuck in homes that shouldn't be stuck. That money should be leveraged, creating wealth for you and your family. You have retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, savings accounts, checking accounts. You guys are making Wall Street and the banks rich while you're comfortable. They're getting super wealthy. They're on the yachts, and you got your little house paid for, your little 1,700 square foot house paid for, and your sofa with your stains on your sofa, your little freeloaders running around the house spilling crackers and Cheerios. You're eating in rich foods, drinking sodas. You think you got the life because you got your debt paid for. You got a good job. Got a little money coming in. And you never know when you get off the hamster wheel. Then there's the third group of people. And the third group of people multiply money. I figured out the first two. I spent 45 years doing the first two. And I spent the last 13 years figuring out number three. You figure out number three, folks. I guarantee you'll turn that M right there into a W. And that is for wealth, not work. Okay? You cannot get wealthy working. There's not one person on this planet that created wealth. I'm not talking about being rich, a couple $1 million. I'm talking about creating indestructible wealth that provides passive income. Sharon Lecter talked about you earn income, and then I'm going to bring Dr. Jordan Peterson in. You earn income. The problem with that, this passive income over here, your target should be, and when we do this virtual boot camp with you, what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to find out what your earned income is, if it's 50 grand a year or if it's 500. My goal is to get that replaced with passive income of 50 grand, okay? And then keep them both. And then I want to grow this one, okay, and continue to repeat this activity so that 10 years from now, you got $500,000 of passive income, not earned income. Because this income right here is not taxed. That's why Warren Buffett made the comment about his secretary that went famous around the world and said, it is a shame, it is a shame that my secretary pays more in taxes than I did. And everybody's like, Warren Buffett, he's such an understanding old man. Yeah, the thing you don't understand is Warren Buffett's earned income is $1. Well, he's worth, what's he worth today?
150 billion.
150 bill?
Something stupid.
Okay, because wealth, I don't think it's that much, but.
Whatever.
100.6 billion.
Excuse me. Let's give him a little haircut right here. He's worth $100 billion.
$50 billion
Okay, you understand the difference? He does not get taxed on wealth. You don't get taxed because your asset values went up. Okay, so you get taxed on income. And we have all been taught, if you're an accountable, responsible, dedicated, hardworking American or Canadian, you're like, I'm gonna work hard and I'm gonna save my money. You got half the game figured out, but you don't have the wealth game figured out. The wealth game is the next level. It's where work doesn't happen. Okay, it's where you actually start leveraging relationships and time. You start using pieces of paper money to leverage into assets that go up in value as dollars go down. I know Jordan, I'm going to bring Dr. Jordan Peterson in here in the next 30 seconds, but I know he's going to tell you there's something going on in this planet that he's very, very concerned about, where governments are printing money. When I print money, when I start printing, 40% of all the US dollars in circulation today did not exist 18 months ago. When you print that much cash, the value of that cash goes down, and that's why you're seeing the acceleration of assets. Bitcoin went up 4,000 points today. Gold's up. The stock market keeps going crazy.
Housing.
Okay? Housing's going nuts. Your income has not changed. And all these properties, all these values of all these hard assets are going up in value. I've been telling you guys for 5 years now. Now's the time. Okay? Hit the link, grantcardone.com/virtual. Let me spend 3 days with you. Let me coach you. Worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to lose $297 and never see it again. So worst damn thing that can happen to you is you're out $297. You waste 3 days with Grant Cardone, a guy that's gone from being in debt 12 years ago to $3 billion worth of real estate and a company that does about $150 million a year in sales. So I'd love for you to be part of it. It'll help me help a bunch of kids, and I'll get the satisfaction to know that I somehow touched your life and got you to the next level of your finances, whether it's from poverty to the middle class or whether you want to go from the middle class to being wealthy. Let me bring up my friend, Dr. Jordan Peterson, a clinical psychologist. This guy's known all over the world. He's like a rock star right now. The author of 12 Rules for Life. This guy, when I listen to him, I'm like, man, this guy's like living in my head. There's so much of what he talks about and we'll share with you tonight that I believe will break your generational scarcity thinking. The things that hold you victim, that keep you trapped, and that might be holding you back. Some of the agreements that you've made in your life that actually might not be good for you. And I think and I hope that it's going to help you identify some of the people around you that may be causing you, like that rubber band, when you want to stretch and you want to get bigger. I think the doctor is going to help you be able to identify the people around you that maybe they're in their own trap, and that's holding you in your trap. Dr. Jordan Peterson, welcome to the $1 Million Challenge. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Mr. Cardone, and thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, man, you're on fire right now, man. You got all the attention in the universe, right?
Yeah, for better or for worse. Yeah, that seems to be the case.
And I really appreciate you taking a stand on so many things. You know, when I first heard you, I'm like, this guy can't be a Canadian, man. He can't, you know. You know, like you, because you sound like such a big rebel, right? Talk to me about, when did you start talking about this thing that, you know, the Peterson effect, if you will?
Oh, I don't think I've ever talked about that. Other people have talked about that. And, you know, I suppose I noticed what that's referring to when I started teaching. The first real full-time teaching job I had was at Harvard, and I taught some courses there that were very well received. And out of those courses and the work I did to prepare them came the book, 12 Rules for Life. And so, you see, what happened, I suppose, at Harvard with Maps of Meaning course, which was really my own course, I wrote the book for it, was that the typical student comment was at the end of the year that the course changed the way they looked at everything. And these were smart kids. They had lots of courses to choose from. And so, you know, and I don't want to take credit for that in some sense, because I'd synthesized a lot of ideas that a lot of other people had worked very hard to generate for a very long time. So, but, you know, and I'm a psychologist. Some of these ideas hopefully are useful to people. That's the plan.
Yeah, so like when you took that information and you were sharing it, were you noticing that the students were having like just awarenesses from the way they were brought up? I mean, what is it you saw happening?
Well, yeah, I saw them seriously contend with the idea that they needed to put their lives together, and that was actually really important, and that there were ways that they weren't conceptualizing themselves properly, and that meant that they were more nihilistic and more chaotic and more anxious. I mean, well, here, I'll tell you one example. So one of the things I learned as a neuroscientist was that all of our positive emotion, almost all of it, the kind of emotion that really makes you happy, is very tightly tied to forward movement. Okay, so that's the relationship between your consciousness, the emotion, and your body. It's like consciously you're aware of happiness, that's a positive emotion. It's mediated mostly by your left hemisphere, at least in right-handed people, and it's associated with movement forward. Well, movement forward towards what? Well, towards a goal. And whenever we're moving forward, whether we know it or not, we're moving towards a goal. Confused or not confused, like diligently pursuing it or not, clear about what it is, it doesn't matter. And then without a goal, no positive emotion. None. Now, there's the kind of satisfaction you can get after a good meal, but that's more like satiation. That's a different emotional set. Okay, so now think about what that means. What that means is that the more valuable the goal you're moving towards, the more positive emotion. And here's another issue. And the more integrated the framework within which you're pursuing that goal, the less anxiety and psychological pain. And these are hard-nosed empirical truths. Like, I was familiar with the work of the best neuroscientists in the world. Jaak Panksepp, he's one of them. He wrote the textbook Effective Neuroscience, which is a great book. And Geoffrey Gray, who is a neuropsychologist from the UK, who wrote The Neuropsychology of Anxiety, which is a deadly difficult book, but absolutely brilliant. And so we look at the world through a hierarchy of value. We can't help that. There's no way out of that. You can't even see without a hierarchy of value. You cannot hear.
Meaning what?
Imagine this.
What does that hierarchy of value mean to you?
Well, okay, think about it this way. So let's say I describe the hierarchy of value that I'm living within as a practicing scientist when I was a professor. Okay, now imagine I'm writing a paper. Okay, what am I actually doing? Well, I'm pushing keys with my fingers, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm actually doing. Okay, but I'm writing words and I'm writing phrases, sentences, paragraphs, essay. Why? Well, I'm publishing papers. Why? Well, I'm a scientist. Why? Because I think that will make the world a better place, and there's practical concerns as well. Why? Well, I'm trying to be a good person. Why? Well, there's something outside of that too. And all of that is nested, all of it, all the time. And we're always looking at now, the structure that you're viewing the world through might be confused and chaotic. And you might be at war with yourself about what your values are, especially at the higher levels, because, you might think, and I had lots of clinical clients who were in this dilemma. It's like, yeah, I'm a good artist, I'm a good architect, but fundamentally life is worthless and everything ends in suffering and death. And so what's the point? And, that's a criticism, and life is hard. But you see what happens is it demolishes that value structure, that sort of criticism, and that lets in negative emotion and destroys positive emotion. And I mean, technically, that's what happens. So one of the things my colleagues and I did, I had a very brilliant student when I was at Harvard named Dr. Daniel Higgins. He had an engineering degree from MIT, and then he came to Harvard and did a PhD in psychology, and we built this self-authoring program, which many people have used, that helps people write out, and the writing is important, a plan for their life. It's like, okay, if you could have what you wanted, so that would assume that you would want something, what would it be? And then can you envision how you might progress in that direction? Can you actually make a plan? And there's a huge literature on that. James Pennebaker, another one of the world's great psychologists, brilliant guy. I think he's in Texas. He did a lot of empirical work on goal setting, and also on writing about difficulty, and showed quite clearly that writing about difficulty in particular helped clear people's lives up because they were straightening things up. And there's a big literature on goal setting showing that with this self-authoring program, we dropped the dropout rate of young men A couple of colleges, 50%.
Wow.
They did 90 minutes of goal-setting writing before they went to college. 90 minutes. Dropped their dropout rate 50%. And the damn college wouldn't take the program. Wow. Idiots. But anyways, this really works, this goal setting. And it has to be ensconced within this hierarchy of value that I described to really make it effective. So
that I understand, because what I'm hearing you say is that this simple thing of goal setting, having a forward movement to an integrated, a goal integrated to my values. So like me getting rich, if I want to get rich, but I'm using drugs, I'm selling drugs, and that's
a bad idea.
That's not integrated, right? So
although there was a good anthropological study showing that drug sellers in Chicago were much more likely to be employed than their compatriots, and so
you know what's crazy is I did an event and I find you fascinating, by the way, the way you deliver things in a very it's very unique. So it's probably because you're so educated. But
sorry, it's because I'm Canadian.
maybe a combination. So. But he was the third largest cocaine dealer in the state of Florida. And he came to my conference called the 10X Conference. And on the third day, he came up to my staff and said, "Tell Mr. Cardone that he 10X'd me this weekend." And they were like, "Well, what does that mean?" "I'm not going to be a drug dealer anymore. I cannot 10X. And this is, I think, what you're talking about, integrating your values with a forward movement of your goals. Are you telling me that people that are on a forward movement are going to be healthier, happier, and probably would that affect their money or their ability to produce?
No, they'll stop doing stupid things that make them poor. We get in our own way all the time. And, one of the things I often counsel people, and this is like literally true in my clinical practice, is like, well, there's not much you can do about the world in some sense, because what the hell can you do unless you happen to be very powerful? And even then, it's not that straightforward. But you're a kind of a piece of work in yourself, and there's probably some stupid things you could stop doing that would make your life better. So why don't we start there? And that's what I generally recommend for everyone I talk to. I am a psychologist, and so it's sort of logical. And so part of the reason that people are poor and miserable is because they're unhappy and bitter and anxiety-ridden and in pain, and and they get in their own way because they don't think they're worthwhile, and they think human ambition is as pathological because we're destroying the planet, and they don't trust themselves, and they don't extend trust to others. That's a really interesting issue, because if you're a naive kid, you trust everyone because you've never been hurt. You're a naive kid. And then, you get walloped, especially if you meet a couple of people who are actually malevolent, and then you think, look, smart people trust no one. But then maybe you get real lucky and you get wiser than that. And you think, yeah, but courageous people trust anyways. And that's a really good thing to know, that's a form of courage, eh? And the reason you extend out a hand of trust is to invite the best out of the person you're talking to. Now, you have the back of your mind there that's been burned, that's watching for, any trickery and that sort of thing, because you don't want to be a fool. But just not being able to put forward that hand of trust is a tremendous impediment to people's progression forward, including in the monetary domain. And I think, look, if you're mixed up psychologically and you get rich, heaven help you.
Yeah.
You can watch any number of celebrity bio movies and see the terrible catastrophe of that. So money cannot be at the top of the hierarchy. And part of the problem that people have with the ethical aspect of money, let's say wealth, and we can talk about that, is that they can't really distinguish that from stupid greed. They don't know how, and they know that greed and selfishness is wrong, and then that gets mixed up with their ideas about business ventures, and and then they have some sort of half resentful driven caricature of the 1920s monopoly banker who's supposed to be the evil capitalist, and all of that kind of fantastical nonsense drifting around in their heads because they haven't thought anything through clearly. And so then they're mixed up and anxious and confused and in pain, and their relationships don't work, and they can't handle money. And even if they get some, it just destroys them. So, you better put your house in order if you're going to dare to have the power that comes with wealth. And then if you do, well, at least in principle, you can do more good things with it. And that'll be what makes you rich, because rich is a complicated thing, and it certainly doesn't just involve money. Money can be a real curse. Well, and so can poverty. Let's not be stupid about this.
Right.
You know, money makes a fool have an endless opportunity to destroy himself. So, you know, there has to be something above the money, and you're aiming at that. You know, you're trying to tell people, look, you don't know, you're not aware of this, but you've imposed a lot of limitations on your own success, and you should examine the reasons why. And they'd be unexamined and resentful assumptions about capitalism and business and about human potential and about the value of human beings and their own worth and all of that. And it's very complicated to sort that out, but it certainly can be done.
Yeah, I'm hoping you're going to help us simplify it, though. So, do you talked about potential, right? Do you think people are predetermined to be successful?
Oh, some people are certainly more fortunate than others in their predetermination. You know, I mean, there's huge biological variability in general intelligence, for example, and some people, they're intellectually impaired to the point where they have a difficult time even becoming basically literate, and probably, you know, something approximating 8% of the population is like that. And that's something society doesn't contend with, but has to. And we can't even have an adult discussion about it. And so, you know, some people are cursed with a much heavier load, many more impediments than others. And some people are naturally charismatic and conscientiousness and bright and charming. And, you know, there's huge diversity among people. But generally speaking, virtually anyone can make incremental steps to make themselves better, and it'll really work. It'll really work. So we have different starting points. That's absolutely for sure. But the possibility that someone who's even suffering from a multitude of impairments can take appropriate psychological steps to make their life better. Like, I've worked with very impaired people who were really, man, God, they had more obstacles than you could possibly imagine. And it was still possible for them to, you know, move ahead. And in forward movement is happiness by definition. So this isn't some sort of, you know, fairy tale. And it's so cool that we feel positive emotion in relationship to a goal. So I'll tell you, cocaine, you know, people love cocaine. Why? It activates the system that's activated when you're moving forward to a valued goal. And so it makes you feel pharmacologically like you're doing something important and valuable. And you're sort of charismatic and enthusiastic about it at the same time. It's fake, right?
Yeah.
But better have the real thing. It's much better to have the real thing. And that's also an excellent substitute for drug addiction. So,
yeah, no kidding. You recommend that you would write that prescription, right?
Well, look, there's a huge literature on alcoholism, for example, and the best cure for alcoholism, reliably, and this has been known for 5 decades, even among hard-nosed empirical researchers, is spiritual transformation, religious transformation. And that really means that you have to find something that you think is so important to do that it's better than drinking. And alcohol is a powerful spirit. So, you know, you really, if you're inclined towards alcoholism, you really need something good to do to take place of that. So, and that's fine. There are things that are good to do. And that's partly what you're helping people explore. You know, you're taking a more capitalist route to it, and that's practical. But the other part of it needs to be, and the other part's more implicit with you. You know, get your act together, get the clutter out of your mind, and stop thinking that you're necessarily designed to fail or that success is somehow evil.
So somebody comes to you, let's say I come to you and I'm all wrecked. I'm that guy you just described, because I was that guy before, right? So what I come to you, you're going to give me what, 50 minutes or an hour or something, and I'm going to give you 200 Canadian. And so what happens now? What happens? Where do we start?
Oh, well, the first thing I say is, well, why are you here? And then I listen. It's like, what's wrong with your life? I don't know what's wrong with your life. Tell me. And then maybe I listen for like 6 months.
Wow.
Because you're figuring it out. Well, you're telling me, and no one's ever listened to you, ever in your life, not once. And so I listen, and then you talk, and you straighten yourself out, because talking is thinking. And when I listen, I say, well, look, you just said this, and then 10 minutes ago you said this, and those two things seem to me to be in conflict, and maybe I misunderstood, but maybe you could clear that up for me, or I didn't understand that exactly, and you know, it might be me because I'm not that bright, and so why don't you clear that up? And you'll find that your thinking gets clearer and your head gets straighter. And then we do things like, okay, you're not very happy. Well, why is that? Well, maybe you're sick, or maybe there's something wrong with you, or Who knows? We don't know. We'll try to find out. Watch yourself like a hawk for the next 2 weeks. This is after someone trusts me because I've listened to them for a long time. And if you really listen to people, they are so interesting, you just can't believe it. Like every therapy session well done is like reading a Dostoevsky novel. It's just absolutely engrossing. And if you're doing it right, that's exactly what it's like all the time. It's too intense, really, in some sense, to do a lot of it. But anyways, people are unbelievably interesting once they start telling you the truth. They're so fascinating because everyone's so different. And anyways, you say, look, let's just watch your life for 2 weeks here. And let's figure out when you're really miserable and what you're thinking then, and when you're happy and what you're thinking then. And people come back and they say, well, someone just told me this week, someone I just had a casual conversation with, she was really striving to be an actress, but she also had this cleaning and catering business on the side. And what she discovered during COVID was that she actually liked cleaning and catering more than acting. And she didn't really realize that till she told me, because it's kind of shameful, right? It's like actress, hooray, and cleaning and catering. For a modern woman, it's like, how could you possibly love something that despicable? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, that is what she liked. So she doesn't know who she is, and neither do you, and neither do I. So you come and see me, and I say, well, let's just watch you and figure out when you're miserable and when you're not, and see what conclusions we can derive from that. Like, if you're doing therapy with someone and you're careful, you never tell them what to do, because what the hell do you know? That. You have enough trouble figuring out what you should do, and people are really different. Yeah. So you help them watch themselves. And this is a good thing for everyone who's listening. Don't be thinking you know who you are. You're complicated. You got some stereotypical representation of yourself that, maybe the bullies in grade 8 convinced you of, or some damn thing, or that you haven't updated since you were 13. It's like, you don't know who you are. You're a bottomless mystery. Your brain is the most complicated thing in the cosmos. You think you can understand that? So then you treat yourself with a bit of respect, because you don't know, what snakes and ladders are in there. That's real helpful too, to know you don't know who you are. And then to think that finding out might be worthwhile. That's a good thing too.
So my mom used to tell me when I went on my journey to become aware of who I was, still today, interested in this concept. I used to go to her. She was my best friend. And I'd say, Mom, I'm going to go do this. And she's like, well, you're fine just the way you are. You're okay.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Yeah. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing.
Because you're the first person. You're the first person I ever heard that.
That's so. Well, look. Part of that's let's be sensible. Okay, kids are perfect, right? Yeah. Especially if you're a parent, you just love them, man. It's like great, unless you're twisted up and bitter, and then you want to hurt them, and that's definitely not good. But there's this maternal encompassing love that you have for children, and in some sense. There's nothing more perfect than a 4-year-old, especially when he or she is laughing and playing. It's like, man, you are all right the way you are. But then there's another side, and this is more the paternal side, I would say, is like, what do you know? You don't know anything. You're nowhere near what you could be. And there is nothing worse you can tell 17-year-old young men in particular, but it's also true of young women. Oh, you're okay the way they are. You are. Yes. Because they're miserable, and they're chaotic, and they're anxious, and they're in pain, and they don't know which way is up, and they don't know any direction, and they don't know if there's such a thing as wisdom, or and then you say, oh, you're okay the way you are. It's like, no, you're not. Yeah. You're not nearly okay, and neither are the rest of us. It's like there's way more in you that you need to let loose and get at it. It's not like you're worthless. You have intrinsic value like every human being, like genuine intrinsic value, and that's kind of what that "you're okay the way you are" statement. Yeah, it's a
sympathy. It's very much of a sympathy. I love you the way you are. You don't need to change. And what you're saying is,
that's the devouring mother when
right?
It's taken to extreme. Well, you're okay the way you are. You don't have to grow up. You don't have to do anything you're scared of. You're just fine. You just stay with me. It's like, yeah, okay, but then the mother becomes the devouring monster, and there's an immense psychological literature on that. Great Mother, read The Great Mother, Erich Neumann. Great, brilliant, bloody book. And that's the Oedipal mother in Freudian terminology. And that's just the danger of an excess of empathy, because empathy is not the only value, despite what everyone always tells us now. And it's unbelievably destructive in excess, because all it is pity. I'll give you an example. Well, so when my daughter was a kid, we had got her going to bed happily around 7:30 or so by herself. She was real young, 3 years old maybe, and that was a real accomplishment. And, you know, because it meant separation from us and some independence on her part. And then she got thrush, I think it was, an infection. And while she was recovering, it took about 2 weeks, she slept with us and we kind of broke the rules, you know. And then that was fine because she was sick. But man, it took like a month to get her back to where she was developmentally. Right. And so we went overboard and it wasn't good for her. That's the thing about it, is that devouring empathy, all devouring empathy. It's like, that's not the only value. Empathy, it's one of many. And if you look at it technically again, and that's always useful, compassion is one of 10 aspects of personality, one of 10. And so there's assertiveness, enthusiasm, that makes up extroversion. There's withdrawal and volatility, that makes up neuroticism. The first of those, extroversion, that's positive emotion. The second, neuroticism, that's negative emotion. There's industriousness and orderliness, that's conscientiousness. That tends to characterize conservatives more than liberals. There's openness, that's interest in ideas and ability with ideas, that's intellect. And openness proper, which is more like creativity, so that makes up openness. And then there's agreeableness, compassion, and politeness. Compassion, that's empathy. That's one of 10 necessary personality attributes. And it's also necessary for some people not to be so compassionate, because they say, get the hell up, you know, it's time to get going. And sometimes it is.
Yes.
You know, and in our household, kind of perversely, because women reliably tend to be more compassionate than men for obvious reasons. They have to deal with infants, and infants are the right target for infinite compassion. But if you extend that past infancy, you just infantilize.
Yeah.
And so the Freudian said, well, the good mother necessarily fails. What a wise phrase that is, you know. And you can see that in a courageous mother, because she loves her infant so much, but she will let him or her go, right? She'll encourage that break in that profound relationship. Tremendous pain for mothers to do that. It takes a lot of courage. So anyways, compassion is, you know, one of, like I said, one of 10 aspects. If you're interested in that, I have a personality test online at understandmyself.com, and you can even go test your partner and you'll get a report telling you why you won't get along and why you will. So
when you say, doctor, when you say don't be dependent at all, ever, period, what do you mean by that?
I don't know if I ever said that.
No?
I don't think so, because you have to be dependent sometimes. You know, you get sick, for example, and there are times and places, but you know.
But would you support somebody in having the forward movement or goal toward?
No, that's encouragement, right? It's like, yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, people have their own destiny, and you don't want to rob them of it. Mm-hmm. Right? That's partly why, as a therapist, you don't tell people what to do, because maybe you come and see me and I told you what to do and you went and did it, worked. It's like, well, that's a victory for me, but I robbed you of your victory. Well, that's no good. You know, it's your thing. And so you say, well, why do people need that destiny and why do you encourage them? It's like, well, the adventure of your life is what you set against tragedy. That's all you've got. And tragedy, man, you think life has no meaning. It's like, that's not well thought through. If you deprive life of its positive meaning, you do not touch pain and terror. They're there. Try to talk yourself out of those, you know, with your rationalism. Good luck. You can demolish the positive meaning. Try getting rid of the negative meaning by rationalizing it away. And so you encourage people to have the adventure of their life, because then they have something to set against catastrophe. And if that doesn't happen, well, they just get bitter like tortured animals, because of course they would. You torture an animal and it gets mean. So you need the adventure of your life.
What is all
That's
this?
For sure.
Let me ask you, what does all this have to do with how does all this fit in with finances and with a person creating some financial freedom in their life and some financial independence, building a business? And how much does money impact those relationships and that person's sense of self?
Well, a lot, you know, because money's our primary medium of exchange. And so it's a critical part of our social interactions. And, you know, if people came to me and they were miserable, because they usually were when they came to see me, not always, because sometimes people who are doing real well came to see if they could do even better. And that was also fun and interesting. But, well, I'd ask them, well, do you have a job or a career? career is better, but a job is better than nothing. You know, maybe they'd have some rationalization why that wasn't necessary. It's like, well, you're miserable and everyone else has a job, and so maybe you're wrong. You know, because one of the things I generally told people who are miserable is, you should try doing what everyone else is doing and see if that works. You have a family? No. Well, that's probably a problem. You know, maybe not in your case, but it might be, you know. Close friends, control of alcohol and substance abuse, a career or a job. Are you as educated as you are intelligent? What else? Are you able to make good use of the time away from work, like your own private free time? Do you have a vision for that? Is that all integrated into some sort of goal? Those are great places to start. And I've read a tremendous amount of existential, psychoanalytic, sort of more abstract psychology at the clinical end. But I was trained as a cognitive behavioral psychologist, and they're very, very practical. They're always looking for the tiny thing you can do to improve your life that you can actually do and then evaluate the results. They call that collaborative empiricism. So, you know, I might have a client say, well, you know, you're anxious all the time, and, you know, what's your bedroom look like? And it's just a complete bloody, oh yes, I had a client, he came to me, and he was like 30. He'd had a child, and he knew he was still a kid, and his room was a bloody mess. And I said, well, why? Well, I still live with my mom, and so he was still like acting like a resentful 11-year-old, and he had a dream that this baby that he had was in the crib by the window, and this ball of lightning came in and was moving around the room. And we talked about that and said, well, that child, you know, that child's chaotic potential, and there's tremendous possibility that all that can go wrong unless you're going to be a good father. And like, you know perfectly well you're immature, and so that's what that dream is telling you. It's like, okay, so he's going to go try to clean up his room. And you think, well, that's trivial. It's like, yeah, but he's 30 and he had 19 years to do it and he didn't. So why do you think it's trivial? You think that's trivial. You just don't know what sort of devils are lurking underneath the carpet. That's all you don't know. And so go try to clean up your room. Just try it, see what happens. Don't be too hard on yourself, because obviously you haven't been able to do it. Come back and tell me what happened. So he comes back a week later and he says, you know, I got a vacuum cleaner out and I brought it into my room, but I just left it in the doorway. And then for a whole week, I stepped over that vacuum cleaner. I couldn't vacuum my room. And he knew that was like, well, that's obvious. Think about that. He couldn't get the vacuum into his room, and he made it into an obstacle. And then instead of just moving it, he was deceiving himself so much about his intent to vacuum his room, he couldn't even move it. He just walked over it for a whole week. Well, you know, then we started to have a serious discussion about his room, and the fact that in many ways he was still a spoiled 11-year-old. And, you know, and so you start small. And one of the things everybody can do, I think, I've tried to formalize this into a kind of principle, is like, well, if things aren't as good as they could be in your life, so first of all, you admit that, well, that means either life sucks and there's nothing you can do about that, or you're doing something stupid. It's like there's no other option. And maybe you can't even stop doing many of the stupid things you're doing because you don't have the capability. But if you sit on your bed and you, in all humility and hope and desperation, say to yourself, what stupid thing am I doing that I could stop, that I would stop? Both of those, right? Or three things. It's stupid, I know it, I could stop, and I would. And that takes humility, because like you're not disciplined, so you're kind of useless. And I'm including me in this discussion, by the way. And so you don't know how small you have to make something before you'll actually do it. And often when you find out, you're so ashamed. It's like this poor guy. Okay, so go home. Just see if you can take the vacuum cleaner like into your room. That's your task for this week. And watch what your thoughts are when you do that. He comes back and he says, well, I'm pretty damn angry at you for getting me to get that vacuum cleaner into my room.
Yeah.
You know, because this is revenge against my mom. Yeah. So, you know, little things, you think they're little. Well, no, your room, that's a part of the universe you have. You could fix that. Yeah. If you could.
So what would you say to somebody that knows they have potential? They know they're in my environment, they're excited, they're enthusiastic, they know there's more for them, but they're having trouble with two things: getting started and staying on that focus, on that what you called forward movement?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you're interested in goal setting, and I would say it's not a bad idea to try to write out a plan. And then to start to identify really incremental steps towards that plan. And that's another thing you do as a cognitive behavioral psychologist, because you learn that, if you improve like 0.1% a week, which is only 1,000th, right? It's not that much. That compounds. And so don't reward yourself for small improvements. Don't be thinking they're so small. They're not so small. And they also are putting you on the right path. And so you look around, like I said, you look at things that you could put together. And so you see, when I've worked with people to do things like clean up their rooms, maybe they're still living in a family and the whole damn house is a chaotic mess. And so one of the things they encounter when they start to clean up their room is that everybody else in the family gets really mad at them because they're shining a light on their own chaotic inadequacy. And so then they try to punish them out of it. Because what you'd hope is, you have a kid, maybe he's 30 and should be out of the house, but hypothetically you still like him, and he hasn't been able to organize his own environment. And then he starts, and you'd think if you had any wisdom, you'd notice that, and you'd say, hey, I saw you, you got the vacuum cleaner into your room, man, good work. And that's a little positive reinforcement, so maybe the person's more likely to do it. But you don't do that. You say, is that all you could do? You're 30 goddamn years old, and the best you could do is put that vacuum cleaner in you're so useless. And it's like, why are you doing that? Well,
right.
Because he made a little forward movement and shone a light on your own inadequacy, and it's time for the inner devil to hop out and put a bloody end to that as fast as possible. And if you don't think that happens in families, well,
I know it does.
Then maybe you have a really good family, and hooray for you, but you don't know much about the world, because that happens all the time. Here's a hint for people. Here's something that'll improve your life so fast you can't believe it. But it's hard. So watch the people around you like you don't know them, eh? Drop your grudges, all that crap, and just watch for a week or two. And every time someone near you does something that you would like them to do again, if you wanted your life to be better, so you have to notice, that person just did that. That made me happy. You stop them and say, I notice you just did this exact thing. You have to tell them exactly what they did. And I really like that. You have to mean it. This isn't nonsense.
You're not just
this isn't
manipulating
place for
people.
Dishonest. No,
Yeah.
Manipulation won't work.
Let me ask
you. Do that 100 times and your life will be completely different.
What is the difference for you between educated and intelligence? You talked about those two things a few moments ago.
Well, intelligence is the capacity to learn, essentially. It's not only that, because it also has to do with speed. So, intelligent people, they talk faster, they can think faster, they can calculate faster. So there's a speed element, but a lot of it is ability to learn. Well, so it's like processing speed in some sense in a computer. And you buy your computer, it's new, it doesn't have anything in it. Well, it's sort of like you. And there's two elements to education. There's technical skill acquisition, let's say, and then there's wisdom. And we have to learn to be wise, and we have to learn to be skilled. And if you're intelligent, you tend to be able to learn quicker and get places faster. You can also muck yourself up a lot faster too, though. If, like I've seen some very intelligent people who developed some extremely complicated psychological problems, and they were hard to deal with often because no matter what pathway you went down that was positive, they could use their critical intelligence to destroy it. So it's a double-edged sword. So,
but you'd rather have the intelligence, wouldn't you?
Yes, I think that's a gift for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. It's like physical prowess or attractiveness, all of those things. And they're all things considered, you'd rather have them than not. So, and it's clear there's a very strong positive correlation between raw intelligence and wealth, and that's partly because faster people get valuable places sooner. And so, of course, you'd expect that, right? How could it be any different? How could it be any other way?
Yeah,
it's unfair because it's not distributed equally, but that's life, like everything else.
Yeah, do you think anybody can turn their life around? That anybody can go get what they want? Is that real to you?
No. Some people have terminal cancer and they just have pain and then they die. But I'll tell you something about that.
Let's say they don't have.
They can choose their manner of death. Right? And they can choose how much they do to improve their relationships during that process, and they can do what they can to face it with nobility. And that's something, isn't it? It's not nothing.
Let's
so
say,
yes.
Yeah, let's say that somebody's not intervened by cancer or a car wreck or COVID or whatever, prison or whatever, and they're sitting here today. Do you think, regardless of where someone's at today, if they put their head into it, if they took accountability and responsibility and started doing some of what we talked about today, that they could get where they want to get in life?
No, not really. Because, see, I'll tell you why, though. It's this, because as you develop and transform, the vision of what you want will change. So you can get somewhere good. It might not be where you think it is right now, but that doesn't matter, because, and I'm saying this for a reason, right? Because when you start trying to figure out where good is, you're not very good at it. So you think, well, it's over here. So you aim there and you walk halfway, and then you think, oh, look, I learned a bunch of things. It's not there, it's here.
100.
And so then you go there halfway, and then you think, no, it's actually here. But you do that zigzagging long enough and you get to where you really want to be. But you couldn't envision that to begin with. And then I would say taking steps in any positive direction is a good start, right? And so if you can discipline yourself with regards to your business, for example, it's like, well, that's a good start. It's not everything by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not nothing, and you have to start somewhere. And that's another thing to know, is start somewhere. Right? Improve something. And you'll get a little smarter, a little wiser, more importantly, and perhaps even a little smarter. You know?
I've heard you talk about free. This is going to be the last one, then I'm going to go to the VIPs, which requires a little bit like a 30-second. Okay. I'm going to leave it open to everybody. So, how important is free speech in our society today to you?
Well, it's the ultimate principle. It's like, here, look at it this way. Okay? We have all these traditions, and conservatives like them because they work. But no one can understand the future by definition, and it's changing more rapidly all the time. And no one knows what to do about that. Okay, so we need a process to solve the problem of the unexpected future. So here's the process. There's a diversity of people temperamentally. So we all think differently. Now, a lot of us are going to think wrong about the future, but some of us aren't. And we don't know who it is that isn't wrong. So we have to listen to everyone, and they have to talk, because otherwise we can't figure out what to do. And there's no difference between free speech and thinking. In fact, most people think by talking to the degree they think at all.
That's good.
Do you think thinking is well, that's true. I mean, even internally, think about it. Not everybody thinks in words, but most people do. Some people think in images. So why do you think? So you can lay out plans of action and evaluate them before you act them out and die because they're stupid. Okay, so, and it's just you, and what do you know, So maybe there's 3 of you talking. Well, then you have 3 different people and 3 different brains. This is one of the advantages of being married. 2 brains. 2 brains. And so if you listen to your wife, who's different than you, and thank God, because you don't know it, this is another reason to listen. Like, do you think, is your life so good that you really think you know everything? Okay, no, my life isn't that good. Well, then the people you disagree with probably know something you need to know. Now, you take that seriously, and then you think, hey, I want to talk to some different people, man, because I'm pretty stupid, and I'm doing a lot of things wrong, and maybe those people that I think are wrong aren't, and maybe one day one of them will tell me something that, man, I so much need to know, it'll change my life. And as soon as you know that, then you'll listen. And I'll tell you, man, I've listened to a lot of people, hundreds of people for months and months. And I've never met anyone who didn't teach me something I needed to know. And that was certainly true of the people I dealt with who were impaired in many ways. I learned plenty from them.
So you're saying,
fortitude,
and I love this,
for example.
I love this idea that you're saying that when a customer or an employee or an investor is talking, part of that could be them just thinking. Is that correct?
A huge part of it. Of course. Well, that's also why you have to let people make stupid mistakes when they have their free speech. It's because, look, again, let's say someone's really mad at you and they've got resentments built up over like 5 years, and they're not that clear-headed about it, and you haven't communicated enough. And so you finally go to them and you say, look, I know you're really pissed off at me, and what's your problem exactly? Like, I'll listen. And then you have to sit there for like half an hour and sweat while they wander around through all their resentment. And, 30% of it's founded in truth. You're a dimwit and you've been a son of a bitch in many ways. And you need to hear that. But see, 70% is them.
Yeah.
But you have to listen to it and take it. And then while they say it, they're going to be feeling it and they're going to think, well, I'm a little harsh there and I don't really mean that and that's outdated. But they don't know any of that till they say it.
Right.
So, and you stop people from saying what they think. So you interfere with their free speech. They can't think and then they get sick and everyone gets sick and we all have a catastrophe. Yeah. This isn't some abstract right, that's up there with, well, let's say compassion. It's the basic problem-solving mechanism of successful societies. So, the only people who want to interfere with that are tyrants and fools.
Yeah, I feel like we're going through some of that right now. Let me ask you this.
Yeah, we're going through plenty of it.
Yeah, Ashok says, Dr. Peterson, does visualization or goal setting really help a person in their 50s to alter their financial success?
Well, not necessarily, but it certainly can. And so what you want to do is, and maybe you can talk to someone about this too at the same time, it's all right, think about what you actually want. Ask yourself what you actually want. And part of that would be financial. And so then you can visualize, okay, what would my life be like if this happened? And then, maybe you have a pretty positive vision. That's actually really helpful. And visualization, that's thinking. So of course it'll help. But it's not, it's not a magic trick or anything in some sense. It's prone to all the other errors that thinking is prone to. But look, if my wife and I are thinking about, we have a sauna in this house and we're thinking about moving it outside. Okay, and so this place gets 8 feet of snow. So do we want the sauna outside? Well, we don't know because it would free up the room. So what do? We're going to go out and we're going to plan exactly where we would put the sauna. We're going to visualize the whole scheme. We're going to detail it out. And then the answer will come out of that. And so it's the same with visualization. You'll start with a vague sense of what you want. You want to make that as concrete as possible and then transform it into actionable steps and start. And then, while you're moving towards that, watch yourself and see if it's working and be willing to give up that goal because the goal might be formulated wrong. But then you have to remember this zigzag thing, right? Because, and this is also why maybe we shouldn't be too hard on greed. It's like, well, you're probably not all that wise about money and morality when you first decide that you're going to try to make some money. But, give yourself a bit of a break. If your eyes are open and you actually want to be rich instead of just having money, because those are not the same thing, then, you can allow yourself to develop some wisdom along the way and allow yourself to make some errors. I like to describe myself as an evil capitalist because virtually everything I've ever done on the psychological front, I've done as a business. And part of the reason for that was that I thought it was a disciplinary tactic. If I couldn't formulate the product well enough to meet the market, then I was doing it wrong. Right? So that was extremely helpful.
Meaning if it didn't work, people wouldn't keep paying you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That meant I was doing something wrong. I had these great wishes. Yeah, well, that's good. And that's a good start. Like with the goal setting program that I developed, we wanted to help people write out detailed plans for a better future. That was the goal. Okay, well, how do we implement that? Well, we're going to implement it in the profit sphere because that'll keep us disciplined while we develop the software. And people don't see that part of the advantage of capitalism. It's so greedy and cold-hearted, is it? Really? Well, I have to take into account all these consumers. We listened to all our customer complaints, always. We watched, and we changed what we did. It's like, how is that wrong? I don't see how that's wrong. And then we make some money, we can make some other products.
I don't think my audience is going to have a problem with that. What is the difference between overthinking, the example you gave with your wife in the sauna, what is the difference between overthinking and just doing it and or just buying another house that's big enough to have the sauna inside?
Oh, well, those are difficult decisions to make. But my experience has been concretizing the issue is helpful. It's like really start to turn it into a plan. Maybe you have 2 ideas. Turn both of them into an actual implementable plan. By the time you're done doing that, you'll know which one you want. You'll probably know which one is the right path. So if you can't decide, it's probably too abstract. That's a good I can't decide. Okay, you haven't concretized it enough. That's why you can't decide. So
but
concretize
for
it.
people that
Make
get
it real.
frozen, for people that get frozen in this overthinking, overanalyzing, like I need more data. What is? How do I break through that and finally move in some direction, more in that forward movement that you opened?
Well, you have to have a discussion there about, is there a danger of going down the wrong path? Yes. Is there a danger of going down no path at all? Yes. Okay, so look, first of all, this is real helpful in clinical practice. I always did this with my clients. Here's what you're afraid of. You do this and you're afraid of it. Okay. What happens if you don't do it? Oh, I didn't think about that. Okay, let's think about that. Oh, well then, I stay where I am for another 10 years, but now I'm 40 instead of 30 and I'm already bitter. And so just think how bitter I'll be at 40 because I didn't take the risk. It's like, good luck getting rid of risk. Pick your risk, man. There's catastrophe everywhere. Pick your catastrophe. And so partly what people do when they get paralyzed is they're afraid of the wrong thing. Or they're only afraid of one thing. It's like, no, be afraid of, I'm afraid of failure. Well, so you're not going to do anything?
Right.
Okay, so how's that going to look in 10 years? And it's really a matter of, look, part of the reason people have talked to me about being so courageous about talking about free speech in Canada, for example, because I faced a lot of trouble for it. It's like, that wasn't courage. I was way more afraid of not doing it than I was of doing it.
Right.
So it wasn't courage. It was like, no, I'm not going down that other road. And that was partly fear. It's like, no way. I'm going to live by my own goddamn words.
Yeah.
I'll take the punishment for that, but I'm not saying your words.
Yeah, so you would rather, you had the fear of not feeling good about yourself rather than the fear of whatever the cost was of you having your opinion.
Yeah, I was way more afraid of violating my relationship with my conscience than I was of generating public antipathy. I don't like to violate my conscience, and neither does anyone else. And that's another thing to notice, man. For people who get all nihilistic and don't believe in values, it's like you try to argue yourself out of your conscience. And then you start thinking about that. Just what the hell is that thing that you can't control, that judges you more than anything else? It's like that thing's real. And you violate it at your peril. Now you can because you have free choice. And your conscience hints at you. It doesn't yell and demand, but you wake up at 3 a.m. sweating because you've been a nasty person again, and you know it. It's like, just try talking yourself out of that. And that's a good thing to know with regards to setting goals too, because partly what you want to do is pick a path that doesn't make you ashamed and rife with self-contempt. And that will happen if you take advantage of people. And it's a stupid long-term strategy anyways, medium-term strategy. It might work for a bit, but it doesn't work.
Last question, Doctor. And you talked about capitalism and inequalities. What is the ultimate, the answer to inequality today in your mind?
Oh, there's no answer. I mean, one of the reasons that I criticize Marxists, because Marxists don't take inequality seriously enough. Inequality has destroyed many societies. Like there's a Native American tribe, they're Canadians, I suppose, Native Canadian tribe on the West Coast that used to have potlatches. And, in their societies, some people would end up with everything and a lot of people with nothing. And that's a proclivity of every society. And so what would happen is they'd have ceremonies now and then where the people had everything, gave everything away. And the status marker was how much you could give away. And part of that was to redress inequality before the society destroyed itself. Well, they weren't capitalists. It's like the proclivity. See, what happens is once you start getting something, you get better at it quickly. And so then it gets easier to get more. Mm-hmm. And you also know the other end of it is once things start going badly for you, it's easier for them to go worse. So, success looks like this and failure looks like this. It's not a straight line. And so every society has to watch that inequality doesn't mount to the point where it destroys the society. Now, our solution to that, the West's solution, is get the hell out of the way of sovereign individuals and let them do their thing. And that will work better than anything else. Mm-hmm. Maybe we have, find a society, like a large-scale society that solved that problem better. It's like there was terrible inequality in the Soviet Union in the communist time. Terrible. people were starving, and there were plenty of people who were rich, although not rich by modern capitalist standards. But yeah, and then people say, well, that wasn't real communism. It's like, that just means that you think you were the dictator, that the promised land would have come. And that really means you think you're Jesus Christ, and good luck to you if you think that. So inequality, it's a terrible problem.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to solve. Generosity is helpful. And, a lot of the rich people I know who are admirable, they're philanthropic. And this is another thing that, capitalism never gets a positive, review from. Most of the people I know who have a lot of money, their primary concern, I'm telling you, this is the truth. They want to know how they can put their money to the best use. And they mean that ethically. What can I do with all this wealth that would really be good? And partly they want to do that because there isn't anything better than doing something good. I mean, that's why we call it good. And so, if you're resentful and bitter, you don't believe that. And I can understand that, but it's wrong. So,
Jordan, thank you so much for being with us today. Okay, you've given us all a lot to think about. And I love your viewpoint on aligning your values with a forward movement, and that will make people well. I really, really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for the invitation and for the forum and for all of your attention, and good luck to all of you. I hope you put yourselves together and everything turns out for you. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Thank you so much. So this has been good for me because it reminds me when I was like 25, and I was like, man, dude, I was with psychologists, going to them, what's wrong with me? Kept asking, what's wrong with me? Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. And I am so glad today as I sit here and I'm like, I love that thing he said about talking. Like
Talking is
I'm trying to figure out. I've said this before with customers, man. The guy's trying to figure out the payment's too high, the price is too high. I can't spend this, I can't invest this. All of you out there, like, this isn't going to work for me. I need to let you talk. You're talking it out. Like, I love that piece right there. And I also, the power of sitting down with somebody and allowing me to talk through my stuff at our virtual boot camp, grantcardone.com/virtual. I'll give you like 10 or 12 minutes worth of information on finances. Because what can happen, like even with this interview with a really smart dude like that, you can get lost and confused. And we could forget that, hey, the game is I can't help you be happy. I don't know if you're going to be happy with me or not. My goal is to get you and your family in a situation where you only make $1. Like the thing he said about the sauna, right? Like I'm like, I don't know why you and your wife are out there worried about that damn sauna. Why don't you just buy a new house that's got the damn sauna inside, that's like 10,000 square feet. That's what I asked him, like y'all going out there figuring out, planning this out, planning that out. Why don't you just buy a new house? And that's why I want to get you guys from this dollar to this 10 billion or this whatever the number is, whatever your number is, so that you're earning less to work. Because when you go sit down with the psychiatrist, you're not working. I mean, it is kind of work, but you ain't earning. You're paying $200. And that is a non-taxable event, by the way. Okay, counseling is not, by my everything I saw last, that is not a business investment. That is a personal investment that you can't write off, okay? So when I go to work, remember, they're going to take 50 cents of this. In Canada, they're going to take 65 pennies out of my dollar. My little, whatever they call that.
Loonies.
The loony. Who's the loony now? It's you. Spending your time, okay? And this is what we talked about. This is where we started. Let's just keep this simple, guys, okay? Because your daddy ain't your problem. Your mama ain't your problem. Not this week. Not today. When you go to Whole Foods, mama and daddy taking care of your kids. Your kids need shoes. They need dresses. They need clothes. Your mama's got a problem. She needs to go to a hospital and she needs some health care. Maybe somebody needs to take a vacation, not a vaccination. I just say, I'm mandating vacations for everybody. Alan, I'm going to mandate vacations for everybody. 1 month vacations. I'm mandating this for everybody in the world, including my boy Jonathan on Clubhouse, okay? Jonathan, I'm mandating you to a 90-day vacation in Croatia on a 200-foot yacht.
Bang.
Okay? See, what you guys are doing right now is you're trading time for money, and the IRS penalizes you for that. Wealthy people don't do that. wealthy people don't trade time for money. They take the money and they buy assets in hopes that they get money that avoids the IRS, provides them with money and time. This is the trick of the wealthy. It's a trick, okay? So that they have their time to go on a yacht and spend the money. Okay, you understand how it works? They take time and they don't trade it for money. They do for a little while. You'll have to do this for a minute. And this is what Dr. Jordan Peterson was saying. You need forward movement. I need some place that says I'm going to get off this. I get on the escalator and I go, oh, I'm going to get on a plane now. I don't stay on the escalator when I go to O'Hare Airport. I'm going on the escalator. I go through TSA. It's disgusting. Why? To get on the escalator. I get on the escalator. Why? To get on the plane. I get on the plane to go to Croatia to get on the yacht. Okay, you understand? Why? I got forward movement. That's why you guys are so excited on a vacation. Man, I can't wait. Your health is good. You're happy. You're feeling good. You're getting dressed. You can't sleep at night. You're so damn excited. Why? Because you got someplace to go. Let's take that as the takeaway with Dr. Jordan Peterson today. Clinical psychologist. Let's simplify this, man. I did this with a psychologist when I was 28 years old. They said, man, why do you want so much? I said, why do you want so little? And I realize now, after talking to Dr. Jordan Peterson, I'm like, I was talking to myself. I was working this shit out with this psychologist. The guy sitting there, it was actually a lady. She's like, you want too much. You have she had some kind of, she called it some disorder.
Attention deficit.
I don't think she called it attention deficit.
Obsessive,
it was
yeah.
some obsessive compulsive something. She had some acronym for it. Like these people right here. I always said, man, my uncle used to tell me, man, if they start laying acronyms on you, they're trying to F you. Just remember that. The IRS, the ADD, the FDA, the CDC, the WHO, they're going to shut me down. And this is what Jordan said too, man. He says, I would rather be punished, that fear of not speaking, not having my freedom. I would rather, if I'm going to take one or the other, okay? See, I'd rather not have my cash, and I'd rather have the building. You understand? I would rather pay the price today so that I can pay any price tomorrow. That's what this week has been about, folks. We've had Monday night, the great one. Kevin O'Leary, okay? The guy's fantastic. He believes in converting paper to stocks, okay? Yet he told us Monday night, I hope he's watching right now, bam, I'm going to punch him in the head, okay? I hope he understood what he said, and you guys understood what he said when I said, Kevin, that's not how you made all your money. Your money was made. Your wealth was created because you went hard on one thing. This is what wealthy people do, folks. You cannot find cases, any cases, where wealthy people got wealthy because they made 50 investments. Wealthy people, Mark Cuban, 1 investment. Steve Jobs, 2 investments. Warren Buffett, 1 big investment. Elon Musk, 1 PayPal. Boom, took all the money, bought 3 businesses, all of which he believed in. He has no stocks. He has no houses. I think he's got a little bit of Bitcoin, but that's probably Tesla. So what do rich people do? What have you been doing? You're taking your time and you're trading it for dollars, and the IRS intervenes and wipes you out. You understand? The IRS is your partner. You guys that are worried about your prenups, y'all need to not worry about the prenup. You need to worry about the IRS, because they rob your ass while you're married to them, and they do it year after year after year after year after year, and they never are sexual with you. They can't have kids with you. They're going to bang you just for having kids. You understand? There is no pay here. You guys have your attention on the wrong thing. Watch what the wealthy do. First, they're going to remove the IRS out of the equation. They're going to earn income. They're going to trade time for money. And as fast as possible, they're going to take that dollar, whatever they're left with, and they're going to convert it into an asset, primarily assets that bang the IRS. Okay? The very thing the IRS has been doing to you, the wealthy people know how to do it back to them by buying assets. There are certain assets out there that allow you to write off. And this is what Kevin O'Leary said, and Sharon Lecter said, and Magic Johnson said for the first 3 nights, and Stormy said. All these people are extremely wealthy people. They've gone from rich to wealth. Oh, sorry, Johnny. I didn't know I was out. Okay. Thank you, Johnny. Give Johnny a big hand, everybody. A big chat. Okay. So watch. I'm going to go time. I'm going to trade time. I only got 24 hours a day, 365 days. I got to sleep sometime, right? I'm going to convert it to dollars. How much money can I make? Okay, let's say I make $1 million. I don't want to give the U.S. government. I love the United States. I do not like the United States government. I love the United States of America. The United States government, that's all I got for you, okay? If that's all I got to pay you year after year, that's exactly what I'll give you. I pay property taxes, employee taxes. I put people to work. I do good things with my money, and I'd rather give my money to my charity than give it to the IRS. Hopefully, you want to do the same thing. I don't want to fund wars. I don't want to fund medicating everyone. I don't want to fund all the programs. And I know you guys stand with me on all this stuff, okay? I know you do. I don't want to fund the school system in America. It's garbage. It does not work. I want to fund families. You guys want to go to school? Y'all want to play that game? Go play it. Okay? So this is what the wealthy people do, and this is where I want to get. And then you guys worry later about your greed. Okay? If you got a greed problem that he talked about, handle that later. Okay? Because you can't be greedy if you broke. You don't have a choice. You have to be greedy if you're broke. You don't have a choice because you got to feed you, okay? Once you create abundance and prosperity, then you got choices, okay? You cannot do that if you keep paying the IRS everything. And that's what earned income does. That's what we learned this week. Earned income, I got to keep getting that, but I got to get this passive income. And the only way to get passive income is to buy real assets. Real assets. And we'll do this. GrantCardone.com/virtual. I'll spend 3 days showing you how in the last 13 years ago to today, 13 years is not very long, folks. That one guy with the vacuum, 10 years from now, that damn vacuum cleaner, I mean, he's going to be 6 months just to figure out his shit. This is the problem I had with the counselors, the psychologists. I'm like, God damn, bro, what's the plan here? Well, 6 months from now, we'll kind of, I need to listen to what's going on with you. I ain't got 6 months, bro. I got to roll, okay? So I want to be clear for everybody here. I'm not your life coach. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. I don't really care if you're happy. I really don't. Because I know this, you can't be happy if you're broke. And you can't be happy if you're just getting by. It's just simple fucking math. If you're hungry and you're broke, you ain't happy. And if you're happy, you definitely need the doctor. If you're happy and broke, you can't go see him because you can't pay him. He ain't going to see you. See, you understand? Keep this shit simple. Keep it simple, okay? Keep it simple, man, okay? You're a person with limited time. You have 365 days a year. You got a 24/7 clock. If you ever saw my plane, it says GC 247. What does it say? What's my tail number?
365 GC.
It says GC 365. Is that what it is?
365 GC.
GC 365.
Yeah.
Okay. 247's on my helicopter, and then there's 1E9 EMD. Okay. You might have seen that on one of our. That's one of my codes. I live by these codes. I got 365 days a year, 24/7. I want to be me. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work for me. I'm going to promote me. I'm going to go get me. And then I say, who's got my money? Because I don't have any money. I'm a spiritual unit. I didn't come with money. Okay? My mama had me. Boom, I don't have any money. We all come to the world the same way. Jake came with no money. Jared came with no money. What's the new one's name?
Jordy.
Jordy came with no money. Everybody comes into the world with no money. Now what? Okay? You look around. His kids came with no breasts, no milk. Okay? What's he do? He looks around. Hey, where's dinner? You guys know how to do this already. Okay? Now, what are you looking for? Okay? This is that forward movement that Peterson talked about. Okay? Where am I going? This is me, and I got a clock, and the clock is tick, 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 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. What am I looking for? I'm looking for freedom. So he said, hey, most people are not. They're going to change their goals. That's why you have the zigzag. You do not have to go through the zigzag if you get the right coach. I'm going to show you not to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm going to show you how to go to L. I'm going to show you how not to settle. GrantCardone.com/virtual. Come spend 3 days with me. I dare you. Worst thing that can happen is you blow $297.
And I'll tell you what we should do.
I'm going to send you $2,500 worth of programs that you can get your family on. You can bring your wife, your husband. You can bring your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mama, your daddy. Bring as many people as you want. I don't care. It's $297. I'm going to give you both these programs. You're going to start on them tonight, and I'm going to kick your ass, okay? Because here's the problem. Magic's not going to spend any more time with you. Stormy's running her own business. Sharon Lecter, she can't be with you tonight. She's with my wife on a boat. And who else did I have? Kevin O'Leary. Dude, if you ain't buying him a Bordeaux, he ain't spending time with you. And Jordan Peterson, we already know he's going to charge you about $500-600 an hour. Okay, it's $297. I'll spend 3 damn days, full days with you. You don't travel. You go no place. I'm going to send it to your computer, your laptop, and it's live. Okay, I'm going to give you the 10X Super Life program. You can buy it on my website for $1,000, or I can give it to you here. You can't buy this stuff on Amazon. And this program right here is $1,500, Marketing Mastery, how to get known on Instagram, Facebook, Clubhouse, LinkedIn.
How we did it, exactly.
How we did it, dude. Nobody knew me 12 years ago. I'm going to give you that, okay? Also going to give you an exercise book that you can use on October 22nd, the live workbook that we're going to go through page for page. I'm there the entire time with you guys. Okay, grab that. $297 is nothing. Okay, I'm gonna send you the 10X rule. I'm gonna send you a water bottle as long as the supplies last. I think I got about 50 of these books left. I want you to do this, and I want to do it with you. Tomorrow night we have who?
Chris Voss, FBI hostage.
Now we're gonna get out of the mind, and we're gonna get into the bang. How do I start playing people? How do I start working deals? How do I know when somebody's lying to me? How do I know when somebody's exaggerating? How do I know when somebody says that's all they're going to go or that's all they'll pay? See, because at the end of the day, folks, your freedom is going to come through people, okay? You're not doing anything on this planet independent of other people. Anything you want, the more money you want, the more people you have to meet, okay? When I meet people, I got to know, is he a criminal? Okay? Is he telling me the truth? Is he lying to me? How do I get what I want? There's an old saying, you don't get on this planet what you deserve. You want to write this down? You do not get what you deserve. You get what you can negotiate. Donald Trump, when he bought that big building that he's in now, the Trump Tower, he got I think it was a 10-year or 12-year tax abatement. When he won that in court, and he came outside, Mr. Trump, how do you feel about your 12-year tax abatement? He's like, how'd you get that? Can you believe you got it? He's like, I got it because I asked for it. I should have asked for 15. Okay, so you get what you negotiate. Okay, that's not a blessing on Trump, but look, the guy got a lot of stuff. He figured out how to negotiate stuff. You got to figure out the negotiation game because your freedom is going to come from who you know and who knows you. So when you go places, when you roll places, who knows you? And who do you know? Who can help you? Who can help you? Who can you help? Because the people that you meet, and I would suggest to you that the people you have not yet met, the people you'll meet on our boot camp, GrantCardone.com/virtual, the people you'll meet there and work with on exercises, the group of people that we put together for this interactive boot camp, I promise you can help you change your life. How? They're going to buy your products and buy your services. And they're going to buy your products and your services. And that's how this game works, okay? It's an ecosystem of people doing business with one another. That's what 10X is. So support me in this, GrantCardone.com/virtual. Give me an opportunity to help you get where I am and further, okay? I appreciate you joining us tonight. GrantCardone.com/virtual. Jared, any house cleaning?
Yeah, we'll see you guys back here tomorrow night, 5 p.m.
Saturday, 5 p.m. Don't forget about me.
Voss.
Saturday, Sunday, we're going to do 5 p.m. again. Just Grant Cardone taking questions all night long. I'll see you then, okay?
This is the first of its kind. This is the most interactive business workshop on the face of the earth. And congratulations to you guys for stepping up and becoming a part of it.
I'm grateful that I've had enough success that people look up to me, that maybe I can be an inspiration to other people.
Welcome to the 10X Business Bootcamp Interactive. Let me hear it. Come on, guys. Let's hear it. Turn it up.
And there's no tricks here. There's no gimmicks. We're not changing how you feel for a moment. We're changing how your business can work for you and your family and your dreams for a lifetime.
your seats and give it up for Mr. Grant Cardone. Brandon Dawson, Pete Vargas, Grant Cardone, pitch up. It's time.
Get close to power. I'm telling you, collaborate with power. Collaborate with people that are moving. How many feel like we've over-delivered on this workshop for you? We want to help you guys, okay? This team is here to help you be the best you can. Thank you very much for joining us today.